Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for the pre-match hangout for the Lazio-Milan match, which will be starting in just a few minutes at the Stadio Olimpico. I'm with Kush. Of course, we will be speaking a bit about the match, what we could expect leading up to it, of course, the official starting lineups, and more. So, Kush, of course, very important match today against Lazio, one of our direct contenders really for those Champions League positions. What could a loss mean for Milan today if we don't end up getting the 3 points against Lazio?
You know what? I think it's going to be more of a psychological thing than a long-term thing because there is a full half of the season left. As we saw, we started off really well and then we fell off. So even if we start off not the best to the second half, we can still catch up. I think it's more about psychological. It's more about what's going to happen with people if they lose. But other than that, I'm not that concerned about today's game. I think they just have to go there and give it their all, basically.
All right, so let's take a look at the actual starting lineup because there are some changes here being made by Inzaghi. First of all, Diego Lopez expected to start in net. Back four will be made up of Abate starting as the right back, Alex Mexes as the center backs, Armiro on the left. Midfield, Montolivo in the middle, Poli on the right, and Van Ginkel surprisingly on the left in place of Muntari. Of course, I kind of mentioned it. In the match preview that Muntari was expected there, but seems like Inzaghi's still having some few problems there with Muntari and his attitude after that Torino-Milan match, I believe. So seems like Van Ginkel will be starting, and up front, Menez to start in the middle, Bonaventura surprisingly to start on the right in place of Cerci, which will be starting on the bench, and Esharawi on the left. So, Kush, what do you think? Pretty strong lineup to beat this Lazio team. Of course, Lazio without Felipe Anderson, probably one of their superstar players this season so far. Do you think this team is good enough to pick up the 3 points against Lazio, or is it going to need something more than that?
To be honest, this team's been good enough throughout the season on paper. When you look at the team, it's good. Every single position seems like has a strong player, but for some reason, when they get on the pitch, they seem like they don't have faith in their own side. And this is a good enough team. The only concern that I have is I hope constant switching of team just doesn't bring any consistency to the side. So I hope Inzaghi makes proper use of Cerci, since we only are competing in the Serie A and Coppa Italia. I hope he makes use of Cerci and doesn't waste the fact that Milan brought him here. But yeah, the starting 11, pretty good. They can definitely face up against a good Lazio side.
Now, of course, you kind of mentioned this just a few seconds ago. Milan seems to always lack playing against small teams, smaller teams. We saw them really much dropping points on a number of circumstances so far this season. But against the top teams, speaking about Napoli, Juve, Roma, Lazio as well in that first game of the season where we beat them 3-1, we actually came out strong, picked up the points, and barely dropped any. Can you expect maybe a repeat of what we saw in that first game of the season against Lazio, where Milan really dominated the match, won 3-1 comfortably, and really had no problems with Lazio, or you think it's going to be a different game altogether?
It's going to be a different game because, it's not a new start of a new season. It is after 19 games. They do sit, middle of the table almost. So it's not going to be the same mentality, but that really depends on Inzaghi. If Inzaghi can tell these guys, you know what, it's the next 19. Forget about the last 19. Focus on this. Let's win this second half of the league. Then I guess they could start with a better mindset. But I think it's still going to ring in their mind as to how the last few games have gone.
Yeah, very well said. Now, to leave on a final note, Kush, what is your prediction for this match? Do you think just the scoreline will be good?
I think it's going to be probably a draw, a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I think that's the most fair of results. I don't see Milan losing this game because, as I said, they've played quite well against the top teams. Really, there's just been so much concentration on Inzaghi and the players this week alone from the media, from the fans, and so forth. So I think they're kind of feeling that pressure at this moment. They do need to pick up the points. Of course, I've been stressing this so much. So it's important for them to pick up the win and not drop anymore. However, a tie since we're playing away from home, it's probably the most reasonable result. So I think it's going to be a tie as well. Hopefully we'll get the 3 points, but that result will only be, of course, evident after the 90 minutes. So let's see what happens, guys. We'll be back on the channel, of course, RossoNeriTV.com, after the match for the match review and the fan reaction. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And as usual, guys, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.